The Pittsburgh Steelers are once again atop the AFC North standings. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and I'm going to be breaking down this 17-10 victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in Week 5. Let's take a look at that scoreboard here to kick things off. 17-10 final at Acrisure Stadium, and let me tell you, I mean, Kenny, this is very similar to a lot of the games that we saw from the Steelers last year. Low scoring. Kenny Pickett in the offense can't really get anything going for most of the football game. Then at the end, Kenny Pickett finds George Pickens for the game-winning touchdown. Pickett today, 18 of 32, 224 yards passing and a touchdown. Leading receiver was George Pickens with 130 for 6 receptions, 1 tutty. Jaylen Warren at times carried this team as a receiver and as a running back. 9 carries for 40 yards. He was the leading rusher. On the other side of the ball, Lamar Jackson, 22 of 38, 236 yards and a pick. Gus Edwards had 48 yards on 12 carries. Good job by the Steelers defense. Then Zay Flowers, 73 yards on 5 receptions, but he did have multiple drops. All right, so if you're excited about the Steelers improving to 3-2, heading into the bye next week, spam W down there in the chat for me right now if you're pumped that the Steelers are now in first place. Now let's go to the keys to victory and whether or not the Steelers did them this week. Stay disciplined on defense. I'll say yes to that. It wasn't perfect by any means on the defensive side of the ball today, but they did just enough here to keep this team in striking distance in the fourth quarter, and they only give up 10 points, which is fantastic. Then you got ramp up the pressure, and that's absolutely what they did today. More blitzing today, more press coverage from Terrell Austin today. Joey Porter Jr. was great as coach. But really, the Steelers' defense, if it's going to be successful, you need T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith to show up. They showed up in the fourth quarter, particularly in this football game, and that's probably why you come away with the victory. Number 3, don't get punked in the run game. They did not do this today. They gave up over 100 yards rushing. Justice Hill had a really nice day. Gus Edwards had a pretty nice day as well. Plus, Lamar Jackson was able to scamper for some as well. I thought it was okay. I'm not going to say this was absolutely abysmal, but I didn't think they did as good a job as they could have against the run. Then did they limit turnovers? Yes, they absolutely did. And that's Kenny Pickett, the quarterback. They're responsible for that. He did a good job protecting the football, which is all I ask of Kenny Pickett. All I ask from Kenny is that he protects the football and he wins the games late. That's what he did today. We'll talk about Pickett in just a second here, but he limited the turnovers. If the defense is playing well and Kenny Pickett protects the football, the Steelers usually come away with the win. Then the final thing, changed things up. I didn't see too much from Matt Canada today in terms of the offense that was really changed. Right, the run game had a hard time getting going. Multiple jet sweeps today as well. Lots of boring play concepts you could just tell based on watching it on the telecast. I mean, this is another week where I'm not looking forward to watching the offensive all-22 because I know it's going to be bland. It's going to be boring. And for most of this game, it was unsuccessful other than that last game-winning drive. So let me know down in the comment section. Grade the Steelers' performance here in Week 5. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F down there in the comment section. This is also going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So I'm going to talk about our sponsor here in just a second. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. And with that, let's talk about our sponsor today in BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 for a deposit bonus of 125% when you use promo code Steelers125. Now, what does that mean? That means if you put in a deposit of $100 to $600 on the BetUS website, they're going to match that 125% to use on your bet. So if you put in $100, for example, they're going to give you $125 additional dollars, a $225 value for just a $100 investment. I think that's a very good price there, very good deal. So if you want to take advantage of that right now, go chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 to take advantage of that deposit bonus today. Now my game balls, let's give them out. Larry Ogunjobi left this game with an injury. Going to have some more injury updates on him throughout the week, but he forced the fumble that led to the first field goal of the game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So because his big-time play led to some points, I'm going to go ahead and give him the first game ball. Another game ball here. Joey Porter Jr. gets his first official interception as a Pittsburgh Steeler, and it couldn't have happened at a better time, forcing the interception on 4th down there against the Baltimore Ravens. in the end zone when they were threatening to score, completely jams Odell Beckham Jr. at the line of scrimmage and then comes away with the pick. Absolutely massive play. Congratulations to Joey Porter Jr. And by the way, I think this kid needs to play more. Levi Wallace looks absolutely cooked out there. Put Joey Porter Jr. out there in press coverage. Good things tend to happen. Now let me know down there in the chat. Who is the MVP of today's game? Was it Joey Porter Jr.? Was it Kenny Pickett? Was it George Pickens? Was it Mike Tomlin? Was it T.J. Watt? Was it Alex Highsmith? Give me a name down there in the comment section who you guys think won today's, who was the MVP of today's game for the Black and Gold. A strong candidate for me is Alex Highsmith because once again, when this team needed a strip, sack, fumble, this guy delivered it. He brought pressure on Lamar all day long, in my opinion, and he looked back. He was dealing with a groin issue. He was questionable coming into this week. He showed up today, and he had that big-time forced fumble there right at the end of this football game to put this one on ice. Great job by Alex Highsmith in this football game. Then also Kenny Pickett. Let's talk about Kenny for a while here. I think Kenny, when you look at his stats today, they're not overly great, right? It's very similar to last year, right? You look at the Raiders game last year, a couple of different games last year. He didn't light it up by any stretch of the imagination, but when he needed to put together some really big-time throws, Kenny freaking delivered. Kenny Clutch showed up today on that final drive with multiple third down clutch passes, not to mention that dot down the sideline to George Pickens for the Steelers' victory. Now, before I give away my final game ball of today's game, go ahead, do me a favor. Click that subscribe button and join our family here at Steelers Talk. It's been proven by science. By science, guys. If you click that subscribe button and join our family, the Steelers are more likely to win these football games. So if you want the Steelers to make the playoffs this year, don't jinx it. Don't be that guy that doesn't get in on the action. Click that subscribe button right now. Final game ball today, the guy himself. He got one-on-one coverage late in the game on third down, and he beat one of the best man press corners in the game of football, Marlon Humphreys, for the touchdown. George Pickens showed today he is the alpha, number one receiver on this team, and even when Deontay Johnson likely comes back in Week 7, George Pickens should be the primary target. This guy wins those 50-50 matchups. He wins those matchups down the field. He showed that today with that massive touchdown to win this football game from Kenny Pickett. Keep feeding 14 the football. All right, that's going to be it for today's show, guys. Some last kind of concluding thoughts here, specifically about Matt Canada. You look at this. Offense didn't play great today. Let's just point it out for what it is. Kenny Pickett made some clutch throws, and they put together a drive on their final drive. But other than that, this defense was responsible, and special teams, by the way, were responsible for pretty much everything else. I mean, if I could give away a couple more game balls, I'd probably give an honorable mention to Miles Killebrew and an honorable mention to T.J. Watt because there's so many big-time impact players, specifically on the defensive side of the ball for the Steelers. And, when it comes to Matt Canada, I want them to fire him. If they would have lost this game, he would certainly be fired. And he's definitely lucky that Kenny Pickett hit George Pickens on that touchdown pass to put them up. Because if they don't hit that throw, I think Matt Canada is seeing the door. He's getting his ass kicked out the door tonight. But now because they win this football game, I could still potentially see them doing it. It wouldn't shock me necessarily if they still fire Canada. But I look at the situation right now, coming off a big win, you're first in the division. I just don't see, given the circumstances, how Matt Canada is fired. I just don't see it. But I guess we'll see in the coming hours. And if Matt Canada is fired in the coming hours, we will be going live here on Steelers Talk. We are going to party it up if Matt Canada is gone. So make sure you click that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications as well so you always know when we go live here on the channel.